If you're not on our mailing list, please put your email address at the door, because that way we will only send you one email address, email a month about what's coming up. But also, Acoustic Insurgency Nigeria, they really need your bank details. So please join the mailing list. It's there by the door. We've got loads of stuff. We've got a really good May Day coming up. Sunday, May the 1st is going to be our next gig, so we'll tell you all about that. Please join the mailing list. Are you ready?
No rush. Oh, I'm going to play it.
Rovics.
Where is that guitar? Oh, there it is. Private Manning was an analyst. If what they say is true, he was paid to read reports, find the patterns sifting through. As he read the data, the patterns did emerge. Patterns that were clear both before and since the surge. Patterns of abuse of the most horrific kind. Gunning down civilians out of view and out of mind. Gunning down the opposition in the middle of the night. Sending off the scholars to be tortured out of sight. Sometimes you need desperate measures when you live in desperate times. Private Manning saw he was looking at war crimes. He wondered what to do to allow the dead to speak. He finally decided to contact WikiLeaks. Now it's all out on the table and everybody knows the emperor is naked, he's not wearing any clothes. Has to live within his skin. He stabbed Bradley in the back, called the cops and turned him in. But not before the soldier took 500,000 files. If you printed all the pages, they'd stretch on for miles. Evidence against the state, right from the horse's mouth. Machinations in the west, bombings in the south. A treasure trove of details for all the globe to see. How much they need to lie and kill for democracy. How many drone strikes have at villages, leaving everyone to die. They blamed on someone else, the official lie, not I. How many coups have been plotted by ambassadors who say that free and fair elections be the order of the day. Now it's all out on the table and everybody knows the emperor is naked, he's not wearing any clothes. Genie's out of the bottle, and they're trying to stuff it back and stop it from illuminating everything we lack, such as the rule of law or playing by the book. Look, you can read it, it's right here. The ship of state is run by crooks, and they vilify the messengers, call them every name for daring to blow the whistle on the nature of their game. The game of taking lives and endangering the rest in order for the wealthy few to do what they do best, dominate the world for the corporate elite. But now their cover's blown from their head down to their feet, and now the stars and stripes is looking much more like a rag. The lid is off the box, the cat's out of the bag. Now it's all out on the table and everybody knows the emperor is naked, he's not wearing any clothes. It's all out on the table and everybody knows the emperor is naked, he's not wearing any clothes. So if you sing the chorus of this next song, you can break U.S. federal law and go to prison for 25 years. If you go to the U.S., I mean, I don't know if they can actually get you over here. They probably can. And it goes out to my good friend Marie Mason, who is serving a 22-year prison sentence for politically motivated arson. And I promise everything she burnt down desperately needed to get burnt down. Rodney Coronado was arrested for a speech that he gave one evening by the San Diego beach. He stated his opinions, they sounded just like mine. Now they want to put him behind bars till 2029. Prosecutor said the problem was the speech, it showed intent. I couldn't figure out exactly what that meant. You can't describe an action, say you thought that it was swell. So what'll happen when we sing this? Who the heck can tell? But we don't like the condo and we're gonna burn it down. Corporate terrorists drive them out of town. We'll bring a lot of gasoline, pour it on the floor, light a match, say a prayer, and run right out the door. Burn it down, burn it down. We're going to burn it down, burn it down, burn it down, burn it down. Very good. If you just sang that chorus, then you just broke the law. To be an eco-terrorist, now you just gotta flap your jaw. And hey, who knows, by the time you have a chance to blink, whether you're a criminal might depend on what you think. But we don't like the bulldozer, we're gonna burn it down. Corporate terrorists drive them out of town. We'll bring a lot of gasoline, pour it on the floor, light a match, say a prayer, and run right out the door. Burn it down, burn it down. We're going to burn it down, burn it down, burn it down, burn it down. First they came for Rod, maybe next they'll come for you. Let me tell you what I think all of us should do. Sing this song with me, raise your fist and caterwaul. If we fight together, they can't arrest us all. Cause we don't like the Walmart and we're gonna burn it down. Corporate terrorists drive them out of town. We'll bring a lot of gasoline, pour it on the floor, light a match, say a prayer, and run right out the door. Burn it down, burn it down. We're going to burn it down, burn it down, burn it down, burn it down. One more time with conviction and intent. Burn it down, burn it down. We're going to burn it down, burn it down, burn it down, burn it down. And sticking with moving from incendiary devices to actual explosives, this is here's a song, true story from 1968. Came back here to dwell, maybe have a family, plant some corn and dig a well. I was all done with the army, back from Vietnam, where I learned how to hold a rifle and how to set a bomb. I grew up on this mountain, it's in my very soul. So when the company moved next door, started digging for the coal, tearing up the mountain with drillers and drag lines, I knew then what needed to happen to those mines. 10, 9, 8, sometimes that's just how it goes. 3, 2, 1, get up before it blows. On duty through the night, I stepped gently on the ground, stayed well out of sight. I tied sticks to the equipment, set the timer on, and I knew that in 10 seconds those dozers would be gone. 10, 9, 8, sometimes that's just how it goes. 3, 2, 1, get out before it blows. for the West. The cops were on my trail, and I figured it was best. And I figured I did my small part to make the world free in my humble manner in East Tennessee. 10, 9, 8, sometimes that's just how it goes. 3, 2, 1, get out before it blows. 10, 9, 8, sometimes that's just how it goes. 3, 2, 1, get out before it blows. So I was visiting, I was on tour last fall in the U.S. and visiting my friend Ben Mansky in Madison, Wisconsin, and he told me a story about his grandfather that I've known Ben for many years, but he had never told me the story about his grandfather, Samuel Mansky. Samuel Mansky, and it was from Poland, and he had a certain very meaningful encounter with a certain Japanese diplomat named Senpo Sugihara. He was raised in Gifu, on the islands of Japan. He was sent off to Manchuria. That's how this tale began. His first assignment in the diplomatic corps was far off Lithuania and the European War. My grandfather was from Krakow. The Nazis came, he fled. He took his family to Vilnius, so they might not end up dead. But the panzers were advancing, and he knew they had to go. But he had to have a visa, and all the embassies said no. There was only one final possibility. The last consulate left open, the Third Reich's Asian ally. There in Lithuania, there was no time to lose. They came asking for a visa, thousands of Polish Jews. The diplomat called Tokyo, can I grant them this reprieve? 3 times he got his answer, tell them all to leave. He looked into their eyes, talked to his family. He and his wife decided, we must set these people free. Although I never met him, when all is said and done, I am Sugihara's son. Disobeying orders that they knew to be wrong, Senpo and Yukiko started writing all day long. A month's worth of visas in every 20-hour day. Senpo and Yukiko could turn no refugee away. Word came from the Empire, it's time to turn it in. You're closing down your consulate and moving to Berlin. They knew they did the right thing, of this they had no doubt. They threw visas out the window as their train pulled out. Although I never met him, when all is said and done, I am Sugihara's son. My grandfather crossed Siberia for 5 times the normal cost, fearing for the future with every minute lost. He got the ferry to Kobe, then to occupied Shanghai. There he spent the war years, while back home his people died. Sugihara-san did not seek praise from anyone. When he died, the papers said his neighbors knew not what he'd done. But there are 40,000 people living lives today without symbol Sugihara. I'd not be here now to say, although I never met him, when all is said and done, I am Sugihara's son. Song about a neighbor of mine, and I'm sure a neighbor of yours, depending on where you grew up. They were old when I was young. Now they've all but passed away. Now it's just a second-hand memory of the day when from all around the world they sailed off to Spain to fight against the fascists, where so many men were slain. Who will recall the days when they all stood side by side, now that the last Lincoln veteran died? Beside Martin Luther King, or in a veterans parade, you could see the men who made the journey to join the 15th Brigade. When men of many nations, of most every creed and hue, Catholics and Protestants, atheists and Jews, joined together in the trenches to turn back the fascist tide, now that the last Lincoln veteran died. The working class of many nations joined in a desperate bid with what weapons they could find. They fought to save Madrid from Brussels and Berlin, Galway and London town. Who will recall the brigadistas who went to take the fascists down? There beside the Spanish people, even the figs and olives cried, now that the last Lincoln veteran died. The Republic had the people, but the fascists had the tanks. But Il Duce and Der Fuhrer deserve only some of Franco's thanks, 'cause the fuel to move the armor came from the USA, and the men that they gunned down were from New York and Frisco Bay. Uncle Sam claimed he was neutral. Who will remember how he lied, now that the last Lincoln veteran died? They say people get conservative the older that they age. They say that being radical is just a youthful phase, but the finest communist I've known lived to 95. and he spent his whole life striving for humanity to thrive. To forget these fallen heroes is something I cannot abide. Now that the last Lincoln veteran died. Now that the last Lincoln veteran died. There's a valley in Spain called Jarama. It's a place that we all know so well. It was there that we gave of our manhood, where so many of our brave comrades fell. I think I got time for one more, and thank you all so much for coming in. Thanks so much to Guy Smallman for putting together another fantastic gig. This is wonderful. And couldn't be a better songwriter to share the bill with either. Rob Johnson's amazing. There's CDs back there, and my latest recording is actually not a CD. It's only available on the web. You go to davidrovics.com and click on Download Big Red Sessions. You can get it by free or for donation, and it's the best thing I've ever recorded, I think so. Hope you like it. And if you haven't had enough of this music, then I'm playing in Camden Town on Thursday. I got my last gig in London is on Thursday in Camden Town, and it's on my website where it is. I can't remember, Sir somebody or Albert, I think. Pub. What is it? Sir Albert Steele. That's right, right? Richard Steele. Yeah, Sir Richard Steele. It's in that pub, and in Camden on Thursday. And I'm going to Wales tomorrow. So if you know anybody in Wales, warn them off. I was sitting in a cafe in Wellington, New Zealand 3 years ago with my dear departed friend Alistair Hewlett, and we were reading the local paper, and there was a section in it about recent events off the coast of Somalia, which is something I'm usually interested in anyway, but this was a particularly interesting little bit because there were some things revealed that were, new to me, and I'd, been closely following events off of the coast of Somalia for quite some years. And I've also read a fair bit about the golden age of piracy as well, so it's interesting to, compare and contrast these things. And in the paper, it was describing a ship that had just been boarded by pirates that had been hijacked by pirates that was being boarded by French naval commandos. And upon seeing that the French Navy was boarding the ship, the pirates beat a hasty retreat, which is generally my advice to people when confronted with the French Navy. And they left behind things like half-eaten meals and other items, including handbooks on how to be a proper pirate. And I know that 300 years ago they didn't have handbooks because nobody could read or write. They did have guidelines, like sort of 10 basic guidelines on being a proper pirate. And one of those guidelines was the same as, probably more than one, but one at least was the same as one of the ones in the book. I haven't seen the book, and it's probably not in English either, but one of the things that were mentioned in there was there's a little section on when you encounter females on your boats that you hijack, don't molest them. And that, evidently is still important to point out, and I'd say so. And, 300 years ago, that was one of the basic 10 rules. Don't molest the females that you come across in this. So, contrary to a lot of I'm sure lots of other horrible stuff happened, but they were making an effort to behave themselves generally. And another of the more modern guidelines in the pirate handbook, which I think probably did not exist 300 years ago, is about the importance of cooking ethnically appropriate food for your hostages. And there were Ukrainians who had been held off the coast of Somalia for several months, along with 32 tanks. They were fed borscht. They testified they were fed borscht. The Somali pirate chefs had been growing beets and cabbage just for them, apparently. And, I think that's really beyond the call of duty. I mean, if they feed you, that should, that's plenty good enough, I think. Let me tell you the story of 100 ships traversing the great big sea, moving the riches of the world in large ships owned by the captains of industry. They were heading to places like Amsterdam, London, and LA. But they had to change their plans a bit when they were held up on the way. Here's to the pirates of Somalia, sailing the ocean blue. Here's to the pirates. Here's to the pirates of Somalia. I'll raise a Jolly Roger to you. Haradheri is a town of fishermen, living lives of hardship and toil. But today they had a really good catch, 2 million barrels of oil. They travel with the pirate's handbook, doing what's just and fair, taxing the robber barons and taking their rightful share. Here's to the pirates of Somalia, sailing the ocean blue. Somalia, I'll raise a Jolly Roger to you. Well, there are those who don't like pirates, but I think they're just great. I only wish that I could shake their hands and say, good job, mate. I only wish that I could join them on the seas, keep those tankers at bay, tax the corporations and give the loot away. Here's to the pirates of Somalia, sailing the ocean blue. Here's to the pirates of Somalia, I'll raise a Jolly Roger to you. Here's to the pirates. Here's to the pirates of Somalia, sailing the ocean blue. Here's to the pirates of Somalia, I'll raise a Jolly Roger to you. Thank you very much. Okay, as long as you'll sing with me. My name is John Riley. I'll have your ear only while. I left my dear home in Ireland. It was death, starvation, or exile. When I got to America, it was my duty to go, enter the army and slog across Texas to join in the war against Mexico. And it was there in the pueblos and hillsides that I saw the mistake I had made. Part of a conquering army with the morals of a bayonet blade. And there amidst all these poor dying Catholics, screaming children, the burning stench of it all, myself and 200 Irishmen decided to rise to the call. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We marched neath the green flag of St. Patrick, emblazoned with Erin go Bragh, right with the harp and the shamrock and Libertad Padre Publica. Just 50 years after Wolfe Tone, 5,000 miles away, the Yanks called us a legion of strangers, and they can talk as they may, but from Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. What'd we do? We formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We fought them were raping the nuns. In Monterey and Cerro Gordo, we fought on as Ireland's sons. We were the red-headed fighters for freedom amidst these brown-skinned women and men. Side by side we fought against tyranny, and I dare say we'd do it again. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. What'd we do? We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side.